Hello and welcome. I'm discussing about my case study, which was on UCF and blended and online learning. And one of the things I want to come out on the onset with about the readings, I noticed like in Paisiano's information in the book, ebook, that it was mentioned, the author had mentioned that online learning dates back to like 1983, and it kind of made me wonder about the credibility of the source, because I'm old enough. I know 1983, 84, 85, I remember the kind of computers that were out at that time, and it was only the XT and AT, and they were very, very expensive. And of course, if the online learning component is talking about maybe word processing, well, yeah, we did have word processing at that time. But when I think of online, I think of the World Wide Web, the Internet. So maybe a better definition of what they're talking about when it's saying online should be kind of like given a little bit clearer, because that, didn't phase well with me when I thought about it and I said online. I don't remember the Internet back then. Okay. Well, moving on, the reading with the UCF, they mostly took the study as they wanted to see if blended learning would be cost-effective wise, and what it would take to implement it and who would benefit from it. And what they came up with is that they said that blended learning, they said that the older generation actually prefers the online component in blended learning versus the younger generation would prefer face-to-face. And I thought that was kind of surprising, since the younger generation really is more computer literate. But anyhow, the other thing that got to me too was, or the other thing they mentioned was the fact that they talked about the cost-effectiveness of blended learning. And definitely I can see that it's going to be cost-effective. Your overhead, when you think about your classroom setting and the overhead with the electricity, the power, the space, definitely would save money if you were to give your classes and some of the courses online or blended. But then who benefit from the cost effectiveness of it? The university will, but we don't see it with the tuition. You would think that, okay, if you're going to have, now it's not going to be so expensive because of the fact we don't have to use that many resources, and yet we're raising the tuition rate a little higher. For us, where is the cost effectiveness? So I kind of thought, well, that didn't sit well with me either. But anyway, the good part about that is they talked about face-to-face and utilizing online in the sense that the internet. A person could be at their home or someplace else, or even in another country. Like I know one student in our class who lives in Poland, and that's such marvel to be able to do that. And they said the effectiveness is that it takes the blend of both things, and you get the best of both worlds, which is really nice. What I like about having face-to-face and being able to go maybe once a week to see an instructor is that you need that eye contact, you need that body language, you need that ability to be able to sit down and literally ask questions. I know for my case is like when I get the email or read the info what we're supposed to do, I have things in my mind that I want to say, but I'm doing something else while I'm doing that. And by the time I get to sit down and actually think about it again, all those questions, they're gone. Versus if you're in that classroom setting, those distractions are out, you have to stay focused, and you're able to get more a guideline of what is expected. So that face-to-face component is really very valuable. On the other hand, going back to online, the convenience of not having to go into the classroom setting, but you can stay home and do everything, makes it kind of nice too, because I'm going to give myself an example. I like face-to-face, but I'm not able to do that because the college is 3 hours away. So I would never be able to take the courses. I would never be able to do my master's like I'm doing right now. So that really gives a nice thing that you can do it online as well. Now, in the one of the readings, I remember seeing a chart where it said they had the face-to-face and they had the online, and then they had them coming together. It was a chart that showed the blend where it came together and how that should be utilized, and should be, theoretically, it should be balanced and structured. I think of the last course that I took just recently, all the theories that we had to learn, and it's like a blueprint. You need a blueprint for a house when you want to build a house. Well, the same thing with our courses. When you have face-to-face and blended technologies out there, you just don't want to just blindly take and pull things and put it into a class, because it's not going to make sense. You need to have some kind of recipe and bring it all together and organize it and structure it in such a way that it's attainable. What I've seen lately in classes that I'm in, is that we're able to utilize some of this technology, not just for the fact of being face-to-face or at home, but when you're in the classroom as well, where the students can literally have the iPad and they can do so many things with it now. They can go in and have Google Classroom, and the teacher can actually be in the classroom with them and watch what they're doing as they collaborate and work on a document, which is really, really wonderful, wonderful tools, because the teacher can then still scaffold the information, but at the same time give the students the control, their own responsibility of learning. So there was a lot of takes, and the article presented was very, it was, gives some information, made me think about, UCF, and I did go to UCF, and I did take some of their online courses, and made me wonder about that, and but I never got the face-to-face blended hybrid class. I only took online, because again, classes were miles away, so I had to take it all online. But anyhow, that was my take on the reading, and my feelings about blended learning and how I can apply it into my own classroom setting versus, just totally face-to-face, but how we can kind of balance it out, take the best of both worlds, and be able to help a student, especially those students that are visual learners and audio learners, and be able to utilize all this marvelous technology we have today, and reach out to them, and all these diversified students, like your ESE students, your deaf or hard of hearing students, and so forth. All these tools that are now out there that can conveniently be put together and help not just one or two people, but now a whole structure of learners and their cognitive way of learning. So anyways, thank you so much for listening, and hopefully we'll see you out there in the next class or later on in this class. Thank you.